right. All right. Hello, hello, hello. Waiting for people to get on my other platform. In here, just going to have a little conversation um, tonight, as far as, you know, mm, we're still marching. We're still going to neighborhoods and we're just marching. And now we are effectively being able to get people to lose their jobs. But is that enough to stop all of the hatred and all of the things that are going on? And do we understand how many incidents are actually going on right now in America with our young Black men? Just today alone, scrolling through TikTok, I've seen like right back to back to back. Um, in a season in Royal Oaks, Michigan, a Caucasian lady accused a young Black man who was 20 years old of staring at her for too long. And so he got the police swarming up around him, for the same crap that Emmett Till got killed for. Like, we're still dealing with the same issues. Then I scrolled and then I seen there was a 16-year-old Black boy in Sanford, Florida, who got rocks thrown through his car by grown people because he was in the wrong neighborhood. So they said he was in the wrong neighborhood. We know what has happened in Saratoga, Florida, with the young boy walking through his neighborhood, the 17-year-old, and being harassed by everybody. And, even we see one of the adults getting ready to go get a pew pew because he's walking in his own neighborhood. So, my question is, and this is just three of the many incidents that are happening right now, the perpetual trauma that is always going on in our communities. I want to ask you, is coming together and marching through the community and making sure that these people that are doing the harassment are losing their jobs, but is that enough? Where are the hate bills and the crimes to protect us as a people? We know civil rights started with us, but we're the last ones to get anything for civil rights. And so my question is, do you really honestly think and believe that marching and, holding people say their names and all these things, is that really enough? Like, where I'm just like, America, we have to understand, has, for the number one powerhouse, we have more criminals and more people in the criminal justice system than any other country. Than any other country. And when you think about that, and you think about who's in the prison systems over here in America with the harsh realities, they are brown and Black, but yet you have mobs all over these places in America where Black people are living by themselves, which is another thing y'all need to stop going out into these neighborhoods by yourselves and start recreating our own communities. How about that? So that we don't have to worry about walking while Black. So if we're the superpower and we have more crime, we have more people killed with guns in the United States than anywhere else. And you have the most of the hostility towards African Americans in this country still, even though African Americans are the ones that help build this country. What is it with America and African Americans? And when are you going to get tired and sick and tired of doing the same thing? Marching and getting no results. We're going to march for a couple of days. People are going to go home and we'll get no results. And so, is America really the best place for us? Is America really the best place for our children and our children's children? We have been so brainwashed. I'm watching other countries. And do you know that when it comes to education, we do not have the best educational system? If you look at children from other countries, they will run circles around American children and education. So let's think about this. When you can go to the Caribbean, you can go to Africa, you can go to different Asia, you can go to different parts of the country and actually have a better education for your children, where you don't have them trying to poison your children's minds. You don't have them trying to poison your children in what they're feeding them and keeping them locked in a classroom for 8 and 9 hours, listening to the bell. And like, especially for us, where they're not teaching our children anything to be prideful or to come back into our community and to actually build a community for ourselves. But if you go out of the country, you will find young Black children that know more about themselves, more about their history, more about agriculture. So let's not keep thinking that this is the only place. Meanwhile, they're in our pockets. For what people pay out here, right now, I pay $2,750 a month for rent in the state of Massachusetts for a 2-bedroom apartment. That doesn't even include utilities. California, New York, Massachusetts, all these places that are draining us just to be able to have a roof over our head. When you know I can actually take this and go out of the country and actually live for almost a year off of what I pay for 1 month and have finances left over, not have to be in the rat race, actually living where I can be on the beach with people who have a different mindset, eating idle foods, which are real foods. Nobody's trying to poison me. And here's another thing we think about. What about medical? Don't be fooled. Don't be fooled. Some of the top surgeons are not from America. Some of your doctors that you go to are not from America. They're from other places that have come here because of the money, the money they get paid, and then they can send it back home and it doubles or it triples. So, what are we really doing? And how long do we want to do this for? When you stop being connected to everything that they tell us and you start to do some research, do you know how well you could be living right now? And yes, you can get jobs abroad, because I don't know about you, but this is ridiculous. We can't even walk down the street. We can't even walk in our own neighborhoods. It is not getting better. They are still lynching us. They are still accusing us of looking at the European woman and looking at it for too long. And here's the thing, with each incident that I spoke about, the police did nothing. The police found nothing wrong. But it's because of social media that these people are being exposed and they're losing their jobs. Because as far as the law that is supposed to protect us, in each incident, the law said there was no problem. There was no harm. And we're out here fighting about what again? Red and blue when it's all white? It is not all right. So what are we going to do about it? And why is it that we don't demand anything to be done about it? Especially right now, it is voting season, but nobody's talking about the fact that black men are being lynched. Nobody's talking about the fact that black women and indigenous women are missing by the droves. Nobody's talking about the fact of any real resolution or solution to begin to stop the bleeding and the trauma that comes into our community on a daily basis. Because whether you know it or not, where you're living, who's next? Could it be your child? Could it be your son? I know during the COVID, my son was one of the Amazon drivers that got that the neighborhood came out and started all this foolishness with him simply because he was black and he was just doing his job. My son was one of those that experienced that. And he can tell you, he was in the army in Afghanistan. He is no punk. And he said, Mom, I have never been so scared before in my life. At the mob that came after him because he was in Trump country, not knowing who he was voting for, just because he was black and assumed. They assumed right, but still, they didn't know that. So what are we really doing, people of color? We just gonna let them keep picking us off and giving trauma and causing more trauma to each generation? When do we stand up and say, you know what? Enough is freaking enough is freaking. We're not just gonna march. We're gonna sit home and we're gonna tank the economy because they depend on us to be the number one consumer. That's what they depend on us for. So how do we take our power back? By taking our money back. But we're so divided as a people that there's no real strategic plan. And what are we holding on for? What are we holding on for? I tell you personally, I can't hold on any longer. It's been forever watching people march and everything else, and it's not getting better. Like I said, that was just 3 back-to-back incidents today. If we actually Googled how many black people are being shot, being killed, this and that, being hung, being lynched in every city, and nothing is still being done about it by the law. Yes, it's great for social media. It's great that we can go and find people and find out where they were and have them go ahead and lose their job. But what more can we do? Because we need healing. We are so broken and discombobulated. We are so trauma inflicted because every time we have to watch something like that, you cannot tell me it does not do something to you, especially if you have young men in your life, your sons, your grandsons, your nephews, your little brothers, your uncles. I don't know, y'all. I know for me personally, I'm like, I don't want to play the game no more. Can't play the game no more. So what am I doing? Getting my contracts together for next year so that I can have the finances to work abroad. And I will be on the island with brothers and sisters that have a different mentality because they're not poisoned by all of the politics. They're not poisoned by the food. They're not reliant upon the government to feed them. They're stronger. They're wiser. They have a they're not as stressed. Nobody's perfect, but it's a whole lot different than being out here in the mindset. And also they're connected to the earth and they're connected to the music and the healing and understand what our music really does. Whoops. What our music really does for us when our music is not contaminated and our music is not, you know, meant to kill, steal, and destroy our community. But if you listen to island music, not the stuff with these new kids trying to be American and all this, the foolishness, but if you listen to it, it's about, the struggles. It's about us joining together. It's about not being corrupt. We have a spiritual side of music that we need to tap back into. And I'm not talking about this gospel music. I'm talking about a spiritual side of music when your ear is open. I'm not talking about this American gospel where these people are walking in the world and want to be celebrities and but they got a gift to sing and we go ahead and just call that anointing because that's what we've been brainwashed to call. I'm talking about real music that comes from the spirit, that comes from the heart, that comes from our passion, that comes from our resilience, that comes from our spiritual side. To being able to tap back into some of our culture, to remember who we are, to remember our forefathers, to go out and to visit other places and see and remember our forefathers and our foremothers and the strength that they had and the ability that they had to create economic structures in a time when right now they're just a one here, one there, one here, but they did it in a time where they could just come and hang you as many people as they wanted to. And that's the thing, you know. And this is the sad part is that Americans, European Americans, many of them, they've never had to stand account. Their ancestors never had to stand account for what they're doing. So all you're doing is seeing. Uh-oh. Hold on. What did I do here? Okay. So all we're seeing really is their ancestors with the same thing, thinking they can do and have the right to come in and do whatever they want. They can question you if you're in their neighborhood. Like, are you serious? And some of the people that were chasing after this, the youngest boy, um, what's his name, Cornell, these were immigrants. These weren't even your born in the USA Americans. So the audacity and the nerve for them to come over here and try to downgrade or try to tell an African American young boy that he doesn't belong in this country, he doesn't belong in their neighborhood, the audacity. But because they have the complexion, they feel as though they had the right. All I'm saying is, I want y'all to think a little bit because we need to heal. We need to stop the trauma and start thinking about some things. Start thinking about how much money you could be living off of and how much money you could make if you cash out. If you cash out that $300,000 house, $400,000 house, $500,000 house, do you know you could own an island? Do you know that you could create your own Holiday Inn? We don't think about these things. How do you think that everybody else did it? They got together with their family, bought some land, and started eradicating hotels and making money. If we go back to some of these places and start working with the locals, and then we can make our own way of life. We don't have to do the things that America is making us to do. And then the next thing you know, you're 50, 60 something years old, and you have gone through life living for everybody else. You've never even reached your true God given assignment because you've been so attached to this world, and you've never truly disconnected. Going to church on Sunday or going to your holy days once a month or doing the feast, that is not living spiritually. That is the tip of the iceberg. You cannot serve two masters. But because we've had such a fake persona, especially in the Black church, you've had so much fakeness and so much chivalry and ego that people have lost sight of what it truly means to walk for the Spirit and in the Spirit. And what does that look like? What does that sound like? Faith in putting things together. We're still in this situation because we choose to be in this situation, because we don't choose to work together. We choose to rather shoot at one another for our differences and call each other demons and this and that, while in the true reality, the forces of darkness is eating up all of our families for generation after generation after generation. And we have more women dying, we have more men dying at the hands of each other. So we're killing us, they're killing us. But who's coming to heal us? Who's coming to bring the solutions to us? Nobody but us. So I want you to think about it. I want you to look at, maybe you don't want to go all the way to Africa. There are places like St. Kitts, Belize. There are places, Panama. There are different places, the Jamaicas. There's different places that you can go, as well as going back to Africa. You can cash in now and break those generational curses and go back to living like living in Eden. Go back to, so that your children aren't in a prison for 8 hours out the day learning nothing about themselves, but going back to how we used to train our children at the seat of the elders, that you would take them out and show them electrical work, roofing, the things that you needed to actually sustain the house. Agriculture. How much money would you save if we just went back to agriculture? And how much more healthy would our community be if we just reconnected to agriculture, which is a part of what living spiritually is, right? We're supposed to share the earth. We're supposed to be able to be thankful and grateful for the parts of Mother Nature and the different elements of Mother Nature. We're supposed to be recharging in the soil. Not just, as we're digging, we're getting the vitamin D, the minerals in the soil, and you're planting real things that are not being poisoned. And when we take care of Mother Earth, she then replenishes us. by giving us a harvest. And because of that, now we become healthier. Now we become stronger. All these man-made diseases and things, half of it for a diet that we're trying to live off, a diet that our bodies are not meant to live off of. Understanding that what they gave our ancestors was the scraps, and we made some stuff out of that and we called it soul food. But the truth of the matter, that's death food. And going back to before slavery and what they gave us, what did we eat prior to that? In that those times were we the strongest. We are weak, we're frail, we're full of anxiety and diseases, hypertension, diabetes, childhood diabetes, all these different things. Because we're not out, we're not exercising, we're not out as a community living. You know, when our forefathers created Black Wall Street, we had our own entertainment. We had everything right there in the towns. You can go outside and see your neighbors and behave to your neighbors, and people are cooking. And it was nothing because we're a loving, kind people. We're an inviting people. We're a people that loves to love. We're a people that loves music. We're a people that loves to dance. What we need to do is take some of these things and tentacles from the red, white, and the blue off of us and look back and go back. How much money would you save just by taking back gardening? And not just your grocery bill, but your health. And to be able to teach your children and pass down health instead of sickness. Health instead of sickness. Wealth instead of poverty. And if we're going to ask for anything over here, we should be asking for them to resurrect Black Wall Street in every single city and state that they flooded or that they burnt us out. If you're going to stay over here, unify, stop marching, and unify and say, this is our demand. You will resurrect Black Wall Street and everything that was a part of Black Wall Street. You will give us the money to fund, to resurrect. Because that means now we have housing, we have banks, we have hospitals, we have airports, we have schools, we have all the things that we need for our community so that we can walk through safely. And now the money can now begin to circulate. And now we can open up more stores. We can have our own teams and compete rather than being under somebody else. We need to stand up and realize that we are a nation. And when we come together, understanding that we are one nation with many different tribes, once we understand that and we can respect that elementary factor and actually give each other the respect that we give every other nationality while you're at work 9 to 5, while you're at the grocery store, while you're getting your nails done, while you're getting your weave done, while you're buying this and while you're buying that and buying from different nationalities that don't worship where you worship, that don't believe how you believe, but you have no problem going and standing beside these people every single day from 9 to 5, spending more time with them than you do your children, because that's the way it's designed, so that we are not in the house raising our children, so that they can go to the mill, the plantation, and they can stop with the brainwashing. They can stop with the brainwashing to make us go into, now we have to go to college. Now we have to buy this. Now we have to buy that. Now, but we're never talking about coming back together again and actually being the head, the leader, the one at the table. We should be having our own election right now for our own president in our own cities that should now come to the table and negotiate with the American corporation about the things that we require. If any nationality has the right, it is African Americans in this country. And I don't know about you, but I'm tired of watching us do the same thing and get the same results, which is nothing. I'm tired of watching them dangle stuff in our face every election year. You look crazy. Y'all look crazy. Fighting and fighting for what? They are lynching us. Our children cannot even walk in their neighborhoods. They are throwing, grown people are throwing rocks through our 16-year-old windows because they think they're in the wrong neighborhood. And what are we asking for? We're so busy fighting for what? Because I've not heard one solution for us. I've heard of all the projects and everything else that are going to hurt and hinder our community even more. But I've not heard of one solution, not one real solution for us. Where is the hate bill crime? Where is it? If anybody should have one by now in this country, it should be African Americans to keep us safe. But everybody else can come and those laws turn like that. How many people have got a law to protect them in this country under civil rights? How many organizations have now come under civil rights and have got something to say, yes, you're right? But what about the African Americans? What have we gotten? For real. They say they don't have the money to pay us. They just gave Belize $250 million on September the 4th. They've given billions of dollars to other countries. Billions for wars. But yet when it comes to us, they don't have it. They simply don't have it. They wouldn't know how to do it. Y'all, it's time to wake up. It's time to wake up. It's time to heal. And if you notice, I have not said one thing about hatred. I have not said one thing about getting even or getting back. I simply said it's time for us to stop allowing them to traumatize us. It's time for us to pull together so that we can heal, so we can protect our children and our grandchildren in our communities. Because, baby, if we don't do it, nobody's coming to rescue us. The next time you decide that you want to shoot at somebody who's of your hue, because they're in the Hebrew community or the Moorish community or the Christian community or the Ifa community or the Orisha community or the Moorish community or the Kemetic community, Muslim community, before you fix your lips to call that person a demon or to say what they're doing is wrong, I want you to think about all of our children. And I want you to think about this. Unless that person is out here doing the Diddy stuff, that's where the real evil is. It's not the person that's living through a moral standard and a spiritual standard. It might not be your spiritual standard, but it's a higher standard. And if you take the titles and the names away and you just sit women together and you sit men together and you start asking them questions about what righteousness means to them. What does it mean to be a husband? What does it mean to be a wife? What does it mean to be a good steward of your community, your finances, your house? Guess what? You're going to find that the answers are very much similar. You're going to find that they don't want their children having to learn certain things the same way that you don't. You're going to learn that they want their daughters to be able to carry themselves in a certain way. That's a higher standard than what this world is showing us. You'll understand that they want their sons to carry themselves in a higher standard, in a greater way, morally correct than what's being shown and shoved down the throats of our community. But we're so busy, stuck on a name, stuck. Baby, if you want to be stuck in the Bible, be stuck. But do the best that you can do. If you want to be stuck at the Hebrew, do it, but do the best that you can do. Because it's a character, it's a standard. And everybody that has that standard in that character, there should be no reason why you are shooting at your brother or your sister. Because they're simply from another tribe. This is what has always got us into trouble, is that we didn't see each other as the same because we have never been monolithic. We've never been monolithic. And so because of that, that's how we were allowed to be betrayed and be beguiled and to separate us. So now if we do Sankofa and we look back and we say, you know what, if that's what you believe, here, you go over here to the east. Here, you and your crowd go to the west. Here, you and your crowd go northwest. Here, you and your crowd go southeast. Here, you and your crowd, but yet we're all on the same land. So we're building, we're doing everything together, just like we do right now with every other nationality. The only difference is now you have schools to teach yours, and I have schools to teach mine. And if everybody's walking in that higher moral standard, that spiritual standard, we shouldn't have to worry about warring or funking with each other. As long as you keep your opinions over there. Don't try to bring your tribe standard to me if I'm not in your tribe. That's where we go wrong. Instead of just realizing, hey, you know what? You're in a different tribe than I am. And that's okay. Matter of fact, I know some people that rock just like you. Let me hook you up. Let me put you in contact with them. Because that's what I do. When I have girls that, excuse me, are spiritually at a different place, I don't go, oh, no, I can't work with you. Are you kidding me? No, you know what I do? I say, you know what? I got a sister that walks in the Hebrew. I got a sister that walks in the Moorish. I got a sister that walks in Ifa. Let me hook you up with them so that you can be in that tribe that you want to be in. But this all love. Whatever you need me for the day to day, I'm here. When it comes to spiritually feeding you, that's not the place. It's not my place. I'm going to send you over to where you need to be. It's that daggone simple. It's that daggone simple. But we choose to make it hard because we have been designed to be in division. Systematically, we have been designed to be so discombobulated to never come together because that is the greatest fear. The greatest fear, if you have not figured it out yet, is us coming together collectively, strategically, and to allow ourselves to heal. We will become the number one superpower infiltrux, baby, if we all were to come together. And I'm just talking American blacks. I'm talking about everybody. If we were to do that, that's the fight. It's not against anybody else or any other nationality. It's not. The fight is that person in the mirror and being able to come and say, it's okay. You're just not in my tribe, but I'm going to protect you. I'm going to protect your kids. Your family's safe with me. Your husband's safe with me. Your children are safe with me, as mine should be with yours. It's not all this intention to hurt one another. All they throw in our head is us hurting one another through our music, through TV shows, reality shows. All they show us through movies is us hurting one another. So we see it in the reality. We see it in the virtual. Hurt, hurt, pain, pain, trauma, trauma, hurt, hurt, pain, pain, trauma, trauma. We need to get back to the love. We need to get back to the love. So all I can do is my part. And for those that know, I do run a nonprofit organization. Have my meeting this Thursday with my mentor, and hopefully I'll be able to file my new paperwork. And from there, I'll be traveling abroad, taking a sabbatical, healing my body, healing my temple, and looking diligently for the next steps for the healing retreats for 2025, and working on just healing, just working on healing and working on preparing a place for my people to be able to come, and even if it's just for a week, to be able to disconnect and come out to a place and just get that genuine love, and just a place where just to heal. Not a whole lot of talking and a lot of people workshops or none of that. Just a place of remembering and coming back and reconnecting with your ancestors and remembering who we truly are. Because, baby, we have forgotten who we are. In marching, it's time out for marching unless we're going to march strategically to sink the economics. Economically, the bus boycott wasn't that they just didn't take the bus. They slammed the economy. That's why they got what they needed. We're only doing half of what's needed. You have to really think about this. We have never needed America for anything. America has always needed us. We are so ingrained into the brainwashing of not even understanding how much power we actually have. We could shut this whole thing down. We could shut this whole economy down and really be like, listen, this is our demands. This is what we want. Do you know that they would not have a team, an Olympic team, an NFL team, an NBA team? They wouldn't have any of it if we all just shut it down. How much money is that? You figure if they can pay these young brothers millions of dollars to dribble a ball or to catch a ball or to hit a ball, how much money that those franchises are making? How much money are they making when they can renew contracts at millions and millions of dollars for entertainment and sports? You got to think about that. You got to think about that, how much influence that has, and how it's a money-making machine for them. that we own nothing, but we will buy every jersey, every baseball card, every all the memorabilia. We will be at those the games, the tickets. It doesn't matter how much they cost, and we sit in those auditoriums divided again, divided. Even though it's supposed to be fun, but the truth of the matter is, it's another way to cause division. It's another way to cause division. So I just want y'all to think about it. Is this really the best place for us to raise our children, knowing that our educational system sucks compared to other countries? Other countries will run circles around our children in the educational field. So stop thinking that we have the best of the best of the best. When the truth of the matter is, children are coming from Africa speaking 3 and 4 different languages. They're coming from the Caribbean speaking 2 and 3 different languages. Think of all the doctors that you know that are not from America, but are here now to get that coin, to send it back home. Our healthcare system is not the best. It's one of the worst. And our children, still in 2024, cannot walk in their own neighborhoods without being harassed by grown men and grown women who, for whatever reason, still believe that they have the right to mob up on our people. And you have to think about it. Why are we in these neighborhoods? Because we want to have a better life for our children, traumatizing our children, because they shouldn't have to be the only black kids in the school. They shouldn't have to be dealing with all this racism because you want to move into a neighborhood that you think is better off than living around all black people. We have to fix it. We need to heal. Because again, I will remind you of our true character. We are a loving people. We are a kind people. We are the ones that are always inviting people to the barbecue. We are open. We are hospitable. We are charitable. That's who we are. And we need to get back to who we are. Because this facade of this African American has not done us well. This hybrid of a people that we have become is not serving us well. And nobody's coming to rescue us. Nobody. Your government is not going to do it. They will play in your face for as long as you allow them to. Because you don't ask for anything. We're too scared to ask for anything. We think there's something wrong when we say we need black organizations run by black people for black people. We think there's something wrong with that. It'd be our own people blocking the gate sometime because we're nervous, because it's still in our DNA that if we start doing too much together, they're going to come for us and they'll burn it down, they'll flood it out. Well, this is why we need to have a peace treaty put in place. This is why we need to be given land and to resurrect what we had that they tore down and to have a peace treaty, because they say, hey, it wasn't us that owned y'all. Hey, it wasn't me. I didn't do it. So if that's what their stance is, then we shouldn't have no worry about them rallying and burning stuff down or flooding us out. As well as those that feels that we should not be in those neighborhoods or whatever. Baby, if you take us up out of the equation, I can guarantee you economic economic structures are going to be jacked up. They will. So, we can keep doing what we're doing, and things are moving nowhere for us. Nowhere really fast. And when the draft comes, because they're preparing for the draft, who do you think they're going to be taking first? So, y'all, in order for us to heal, this is some homework I have for y'all. Go back and study your own forefathers. Go back and look at Black Wall Street. See everything that we had. See how they were doing it. Start having respect for one another's differences. Start leading with love and looking at our similarities. And prepare to put a strategic plan together. Because I don't see any other nationality having their children circled up by mobs. Again, 3 incidents just coming on social media today, back to back to back. The Season Cafe in Royal Oaks, Michigan, a Caucasian lady accuses a young black man who's 20 of staring at her too long. All types of police rolled up on that young boy. For what? A 16-year-old black boy gets rocks thrown through his window and harassed by white people telling him to get out of their neighborhood. That happened in Sanford, Florida, where Trayvon Martin was killed. And then we have the young boy Cornell, who was walking in Saratoga, Florida, 17 years old, being harassed and circled by a gang of white men because they didn't believe that he should be there. That's just this week. What about last week, the week or before, the young boy who was hung? What about, there's so many. And because there are incidents, one in this town, one in that town, one in this town, that it's like we're not seeing it. That they are rounding up on our sons and daughters in America. And all we're doing is freaking marching in the neighborhood and getting them fired. At least we're getting them fired. That is hitting them economically, but it's not enough. It's simply not enough. This country is BS. We've been sold some lies, some half-truths, and they perpetually want us in trauma. They want us confused. They want us separated. Because they know if we ever was to come back like our forefathers came back with the knowledge, the strength, and the finance that we have today, we would become a superpower. We would become a super nation. And they would lose out on so much. And that's why they keep us divided. And that's why they keep bogus people in our face like those are the celebrities of our community. They give us these celebrity pastors, and they give us these celebrity musicians and these celebrity actors and actresses When did they become our politicians? When did they become our spokespeople? No, you're a freaking actor. You're a freaking ball player. You're a freaking musician. You are not the spokesperson for us. You have an occupation. And in your occupation does not qualify you to speak for us, but yet they put them in our face to do everything. And why? Because they know we will follow, because we've been brainwashed. Oh, go get the Nikes. Oh, Michael Jordan. Oh, go get this. Oh, go get that. And meanwhile, who was it? Shaq, that had the same quality shoes, that had this even a better quality than the Jordans, and decided to put his shoes in Walmart so that the community could afford a good sneaker. And what did we do? We laughed in Shaq's face because we wanted those $80, $100, and $200 sneakers, because that's what white society told us was the better brand. And so we laughed at Shaq's shoes, even though it was the same quality, if not better. And he did it so that the average mother could afford shoes, some good sneakers, quality sneakers. And we call those Bobos. Why? Because we're brainwashed. We're brainwashed. Buy, 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 buy. And they're going to sell, sell, sell. The minute that they knew natural here, when Black women start going natural, it put such a dent in the beauty supply that they started buying up Black natural hair products, and they started now producing Black natural hair products. And what do? We run right to them instead of running to the people in our community that have their own products. Those people that can't get the business loan, who actually know about our hair and our scalp and care about it, but we'll run to another nationality and help them become billionaires. Why? Because we're brainwashed to consume and to buy. What do? We have to do more than coming together and marching, y'all. We have to do more than social media campaigns and getting individuals fired. We have to do more than that. We have to become strategic. And in order to do that, we have to start with healing. And this is why I want to do the healing retreats, because it really starts with healing, something that we've never been given the opportunity to do in this country since we've been in this country. And that is just to sit back and just to heal, to remember who we are, so we can have some pride, that we can take back our community, that we can take back our nation, because we've been slaves for far too long. We've been slaves for far too long. Freedom, we never got to it. Freedom was not sitting under dictatorship in a system that doesn't want us to get ahead. And so they designed us not to get ahead. True freedom, the true freedom that our ancestors were looking for, who remembered who they were, was going back to the place where they were governing themselves. We didn't need a US president. We had our own president, our own king, our own queens. Each tribe have their own king, have their own queens. We did not need to sit under the governance of anybody to teach us how to teach our children morals, how to feed ourselves, how to take care of those that go astray in our community. Because if you think that they're being reformed here in American prison, why is American prison the most disgusting prisons? To where, why are people being raped and drugs and all this other stuff, gangs being allowed in the prisons? It's supposed to be about reforming. And then when you do your time, you come out, you're supposed to be able to go back into society, but they make it more difficult. So don't you think that if we were doing our own reform, that we would have a less recidivism rate, that our prisons wouldn't be allowed to do the things that they're doing inside of there, to degrade one another, to hurt one another, to take the mind of each other? Don't you think that if we were in control, we would have a better system? What about education, educating our youth? Don't you think our youth would have more pride and more understanding of who they were and the pride to come back to their own community and do things? We're lazy. We're lazy. We don't want to do our own agriculture. We don't want to teach our own children. We don't want to do anything. We want to sit around and get everything microwavable. We want everything microwavable. And even though the microwave is killing us and our children, just think about it, y'all. I'm getting ready to get off now. My name is Arike Ifabenjo. I'm the CEO of Purifications International Enterprise. I have been in my community mentoring young women for 4 decades. I have created curriculum. I have created different ways that we can collaborate and we can work together. And now I'm ready to bring my nonprofit abroad. I'm ready to buy some land and I'm ready to build a community. I don't know about you, but I'm returning to Eden. I disconnected from the American way back in 2009 when I walked away from corporate America, a very good, lucrative job, and said, this is not for me. When I walked away from pastoring and said, this is not for me. When I walked away from family members and friends and said, this is not the path for me. I'm not an American girl. I'm a village girl. Although I've never lived in a village, I just feel closer to village living than all of this stuff over here. So we're gonna go find out about it and see if that's really what's up. And I'm taking a sabbatical for the winter, and we'll see what happens from there. I thought I was going to Belize. I'm not. I'm going to St. Kitts and Nevis, and I'm very excited about that. I signed my contract yesterday with my realtor, so they're out there looking for a place for me. And I will take what I normally pay for 1 month here in a 2 bedroom apartment in Massachusetts, and I'll be able to spend 4 months living abroad using that money and have money left over. And have access to the beautiful beaches. I'll be waking up to the Caribbean island music, those that cook vital foods and healthy and just all of that goodness, the way that we're supposed to be living. Because we were not designed for the 9 to 5, and our children weren't designed to be institutionalized as early as kindergarten, all the way up until high school, and being influenced by the world because mom and dad and grandma is no longer in the house to provide, and being fed fake food and all of this electronics that they're just little bots, no interactive skills. It's just, and then everything that's on TV is garbage over here. So you got to unplug your children, do some researching, because a lot of you, like I said, could cash in right now and not even have to worry about working. Y'all could cash in, buy land, and put up a hotel, put up a restaurant, whatever it is that you want to do. We don't have to be living like this, all the way stressed out, working until you're 60, 70 years old and still have nothing to show for it. Asking permission to spend time with your family, asking permission. Next thing you know, your children are grown. No, this ain't it. This is not it. Be in the world, but don't be of the world. We're too attached to this world system, and some people are too scared to let go. I'm not. I've let go a few times, and I tell you it is worth it. I tell you it is worth it. Okay, y'all. Thanks for being with me tonight. Catch me on Thursday. I'll try to have a guest on. If anybody would like to come on and have a conversation with me on Thursday, DM me and we can set that up. So thank you for being on. And again, if anybody would like to come on and talk, if you have some solutions, or, you're doing something positive in the community, you want some backing, you know, hit me up. I'll be more than glad to share the platform with you. Okay, y'all, you know what I always say, we don't need permission to build economically, socially, and we don't need permission to heal. What we do need is respect for one each other's differences, to lead with love, and to allow each other to heal. I love you from my heart to yours. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Bye bye.